Welcome to From the Valley podcast. This is episode 14, Brisbane Business Life. I've got two special guests with me today. It's actually the first time I've had lovely females on the podcast. So Kathleen Maloney and Sam Perren from Downtown Creative Studios. Welcome along, girls.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
No, thanks for coming along. Musicians, both of you musicians. You've got a great music school there in Wilston. How long have you sort of been into music? Were you into music as like really young kids and stuff, or?
Yeah, I started piano when I was 5, so that was the very start, and then eventually it evolved into guitar, which I liked better. But pretty much since I've been learning anything, it's like music's been at the top of the list.
Yeah, and my dad is a guitarist, and both of my brothers play. So one brother plays guitar and one plays bass. So I was constantly like sitting on amps as a baby and always around music. So yeah, my mum put me into dancing and singing as a kid, and then just the same thing. It just was always like on the top of my list of things that I loved, and I just kept doing it.
So, and obviously this has been a bit of a journey for you two girls, running a business together.
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
It certainly has. It hasn't been. It's never easy to sort of start from scratch, you know, in your sort of early 20s.
Yeah, we were
23. I think we were 22 when we first met up and talked about it.
Yeah.
And then we were 23 when we started it.
And like, we are musicians, we're creative, we love being bubbly and social, and then business is like this complete other new world to us.
Yeah.
So we've learned a lot in the last 4 years. We
had to learn to be a bit more disciplined.
Yeah.
And know when to stop being crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that discipline, is that I can see that you've certainly improved a lot in that over the last couple of years.
Thank you.
From what I've seen, obviously seeing things from a financial point of view, but I guess what sort of you sort of like all different types of music? What sort of music do you? I guess what sort of music do you like more than others? Genres, that sort of thing.
I think probably we listen to more contemporary style music, but we like all types of music.
Yeah, I have a philosophy that a good song is a good song in any genre.
Yeah,
definitely. So we're open to all genres. I feel like my favourite to listen to is like that indie folk kind of realm, and I feel like you really like musical theatre and like big belty songs. Yeah. We kind of listen to what we do
what we're
as
good
well.
At. Yeah. But then our parents listen to so much music as kids, so we were both open to Fleetwood Mac and
the Eagles.
Yeah. Lots
some
of
classics
like
there. I mean,
classics.
The Eagles, this Hotel California.
Such a good song.
Great song. I bought the vinyl from an op shop for $4 the other day.
Great one.
I don't think they know what they had. No. Now they've lost.
So you've got a record player at home?
I do, and a record collection that is getting a bit big for my shelf.
Well, how many records would you own?
Maybe like 40.
Okay. Well, that's probably more than my dad.
Yeah. I stole a lot from my parents.
What about you, record collector?
No, my dad has some, and I used to look at them, as a kid, but I don't have a record player, so no.
We're thinking about getting one for downtown just to give it more of a
authentic
retro vibe.
You could always sell your record player to downtown and.
I could, but then I'd have to get a new one.
Yeah, true.
Well, take it home. I don't know.
Yeah.
This podcast equipment, it stays here at work.
Yeah, it's true.
But no, it's a great little setup you girls have got. How many different types of disciplines of music do you actually teach at the school?
So we started out with just Sam and I. So I teach singing, Sam teaches guitar. And then we sort of ventured out with getting a piano teacher.
And another singing teacher.
Yeah.
So we've got a fair few singing teachers because that seems to be the most popular.
Yeah.
Then piano, guitar. Below that is drums is probably the next popular. So we ended up getting a drum teacher. And now we have
drum kits.
Yeah. That's expensive.
Yeah.
And now we have a violin teacher.
Ukulele teacher.
We have songwriters club. So we've sort of branched out as things get popular.
And as people call up or email in asking for a certain instrument, we'll try our best to find someone to suit them, and then
we've had a saxophone teacher at one stage when there was a time when saxophone was really popular for a good 6 months. So
basically anything, we'll really try and get someone in good quality to teach people.
Saxophone, that's an interesting. Is it difficult to learn instrument, like an obscure instrument like a saxophone?
Yes, I had saxophone lessons to fill the gap that our poor saxophone teacher had, and it was so hard. I mostly squeaked.
But at the end of your concert, I did drum lessons and Sam did saxophone lessons to try something new, and we did a little duet at the end of
drums
the
and
concert.
saxophone.
So it's a bit of fun, but yeah, definitely hard.
It was great.
Excellent.
We did it.
So have you two sort of, I know you've have performed together and stuff like that, have you ever sort of, I mean, you obviously would have discussed this, no doubt, having your own sort of band and getting it out there and coming up with a name and that sort of thing, is that ever something that's crossed your mind, or?
Like in terms of original music or covers?
Yeah, or original music, I guess, having a band. You know.
Yeah. I guess like Sam and I come from two different backgrounds. I've always done covers and tribute shows and ABBA and Fleetwood Mac and things like that. So I've never really gone down the originals route. But then Sam has always been in bands and done solo projects and originals.
Yeah, and bands are really difficult to like, you know, get the logistics of everyone together to rehearse. So I've recently gone solo in the songwriting front, and I have an EP coming out in mid-November.
Tell me when it's on iTunes, I'll download it.
Yes,
That'll be
I
good.
will. I'll put it on Facebook.
How many songs on the EP?
4 songs.
4 songs, that's good.
Yeah, it's a small one.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah, so I mean, I like the music here in, you know, the local scene. Big Sound, I went to Big Sound this year.
Oh, cool.
Went to Big Sound last year, loved it. So many alternate music, all the different acts that are out there. I mean, it's quite amazing what the talent we've actually got here in Australia.
Oh,
when
yeah.
it comes to that sort of scene of music, and they've got to start somewhere, and then all of a sudden some of them become really big.
Yeah.
Some of them just stay where they are, I guess, and become occasionally popular. Have you sort of, I guess, who are the musicians that inspire you that you've sort of seen rise up the ranks in your time?
Well, we both went to QUT, so there's been a few come out of there.
A big one is ballpark music.
Yeah.
That we sort of grew up with.
I still haven't seen Ballpark Music live. I definitely.
Yeah,
I wanna
I
see
did.
them.
They were really good.
And also Cub Sport is another one that
Cub
came
Sport's
from
another one.
uni, which is awesome to see people who... Phil Hancock's one of our good friends, and he's done like songwriting around the world. And
he's got a new single coming out soon.
Yeah, we've just seen his... I saw some shots of his
music video.
So I guess people who like are our friends, that's really awesome. There's a lot of great artists in Australia, but it's a bit untapped, you know?
Especially like that, on like the Triple J kind of level before they get to, you know, bigger, is like a really saturated market with so many good bands that like they could have sort of come and go.
Talent. Yeah. But you got to keep that commitment level up and do lots of shows for free and get your name out there. Like, it's a big commitment to make. So when people continue and keep going, then that's awesome.
I guess one of the interesting stories for me at Big Sound this year, one of the artists that I saw, I'm not sure if you've heard of her name's G-Flip.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
G-Flip. So G-Flip, 2 big songs on Triple J this year that probably will do well in the Hottest 100. And fairly well known now, all of a sudden, all these followers... You know, but the previous year in 2017 at Big Sound was there in the audience watching that, not
That's
performing,
awesome.
and had it in her own mind. I'm gonna be back here next year. I'm gonna be performing. You know, didn't know she'd be that as famous as what she is, but she's for 2 songs. You know, she's become fairly famous in my opinion, and they're very catchy. If you haven't listen to it, it's quite sort of, and she's very she's on the vocals, and then all of a sudden she's out the back on the drums. So.
Cool.
I heard her performance is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Certainly have a look at it at some point. It's quite interesting. That was probably the story out of Big Sound, among other stories.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was great. Tell us a bit about the students. I mean, obviously, how do they get into coming to your school? How do they find out about it? What do you do to sort of get them in there, and so that they can learn from you and your colleagues?
I guess it first started out with lots of advertising and stuff like that, but you know, we've been going for 4 years now, and the biggest part is doing a good job and word of mouth. So we've got lots of siblings now. Every member of the family wants lessons. We've got their best friends and people from the school. We've got Wilston State School just
we
across the
parked our
road.
studio right next to Wilston State School, which is a big help. 'cause
Yeah, they just walk across the
I'm sure half
road.
of that school comes to downtown now, which is good.
And I think what sets Downtown Creative Studios apart from lots of other music schools is that we treat our students like emerging artists. So we want to get them out there and performing a lot. So we did the Ekka this year, and our kids did 6 hours at a stage at the Ekka where they were performing live. So lots of people saw that.
That was great.
Yeah, that was a really good one. We had little show bags, and people took them home. And
Did you have downtown show bags?
we had downtown
they were
show
little
bags
freebies, which was really
Yeah.
cute.
for free.
Yeah.
But they had our little logo on them. We had like all our marketing material and like lollies and
Wristband, we got a downtown wristband
and like
now.
downtown picks and pencils, and we just sort of gave them out to kids about 6 and up, and they all loved it and took home that marketing. So we do lots of different
We did like
workshops
the
and-
St. Columbus Fete as well, which was a good one. 'cause
Yeah,
that was a lot of
good one.
students coming
Yeah.
through. We try and do as many performance opportunities as possible to get our kids performing as well as getting advertising.
Yeah, definitely. So it's been really good. Lots and lots of kids through the door.
That's excellent. So, I guess when did you find out that you had a really good voice, Kathleen? I mean, how old were you when someone told you, "Gee, you can sing well," and that you could become a singing coach?
Well, probably when I was at my performing arts school I went to, called the Young Australian Talent Company, under the direction of Trevor Green. He sort of gave me a solo when I was 6, and then I got another solo when I was 7, and so I guess just him and a lot of the teachers there encouraging me and making me feel like, I can sing and I can do this all by myself. And from that school, so I was there for 11 years performing, dancing, not well, but also being like one of their singers, and doing their end of year concerts. And I always looked up to him, and I was like, I want to start my school one day, and I want to have kids like me there. So yeah, from a young age I always knew I wanted to own my own music school, and I always wanted to be a singer.
So you've sort of realised that dream to it,
Yeah, I'm like pretty proud of Downtown and all the things that we've achieved. And looking back, I know that 6-year-old me or 10-year-old me would be really like, oh, go me, woo, like really proud. Yeah, it's good.
What I guess, apart from obviously the running of the business, what's the hardest part of running a business in your mind?
So
the
many different
customers.
things.
I would say, or
Just the sheer volume of customers and staff.
Dealing with different personality types, trying
Yeah.
to keep everybody happy is probably the hardest thing we
Yeah.
find, because we're people pleasers, so we want to make sure everybody's happy. So we always have to like tiptoe around certain people and try and make sure that we've got all the students happy and all the teachers happy and all the parents happy.
And as we get bigger,
you've obviously been doing this long enough to know. What do you think is the biggest thing what's the most common thing that parents or customers will have an issue with, or what's in particular that you're finding that's the hardest?
timing, bookings.
Yeah,
Bookings, yeah.
definitely.
Because kids these days,
Sport will take over,
yeah.
and sport changes depending on the term as well. So it'll be like, oh no, coming up to term 2, hockey's starting, so Sally has to change her time.
Yeah. Now, hockey has decided to put it on a Wednesday afternoon at 3:30, which is exactly when her piano lesson is. She wants to stay with her teacher because she loves her teacher, but her teacher only has no more gaps.
Yeah.
So we have to
Yes.
try and fit other people,
Rejig.
and maybe swap somebody. And I guess that's the hardest thing.
Scheduling is always
Scheduling,
it can be
yeah.
a very tricky part of a lot of types of jobs. I mean, it is a skill to master, isn't it?
Yeah. We're
Especially
getting better at it.
We
It's
are
like
getting
a
better at
Tetris
it.
thing.
It
And our
can't-
eyes
you
can
can't
see
sort
the
of-
gaps now. And like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's
we can
right.
make someone there.
You can even probably know what the gaps are in your head sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you've got to see what it is on the actual
On the
calendar as
spreadsheet.
well.
Yeah, it's pretty scary when you know all the teachers' timetables off by heart, and you're like,
Yeah.
ooh.
And it's hard when you've got one student and you're like, oh, I can move them to this gap, but their sibling also does drums at the same time,
Yeah.
so they also
And
need
they
to move.
can't move.
And then they do piano directly after that. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's not ever just one instrument. They want to do lots of different things. So yeah, but we're getting there.
We always fix it.
Yeah, it always
somehow.
gets fixed somehow. But that's
Yeah,
the biggest one.
that's always it can be a tricky one for the really micro sort of small businesses, but they've got a lot of different appointments.
Oh
Yeah.
definitely.
And what happens if you get sick? How do you rebook all the appointments then? I mean, I sort of go through this discussion with a guy at the gym who's a personal trainer. He gets injured, can't do a Monday at all. He's got 5 or 6 appointments booked. Has to go reschedule, rebook them all.
Yeah.
Try to fit in. Try not to piss off the customer.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Has to have understanding, clients at the end of the day.
Yeah.
For us, we've just gone through our contracts again, and we always talk about how we can try and make our business better and easier and flow better. So we have made it a rule to make sure that the teacher replaces themselves with someone, and or has to make sure that they do a catch up within the week or as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah. Just so that it,
Doesn't
no parents
accumulate.
get upset, no
Yeah.
kids are missing out on their lessons, and everything's consistent.
Yeah, consistency is key for kids to learn too. So
both you girls brought up in Brisbane, or where were you born?
yeah,
Yes.
we met at uni, and we weren't friends at all.
I think
really.
I heard a story where you weren't initially friends.
No.
Yeah, we were not friends, and then it's so funny.
We
Now
ran in
we're
different
like-
circles.
We did, and now we're running a business, and I'm getting married next year, and she's going to be a bridesmaid. Like
Yes.
we're like best friends. So
Yeah.
weird. But then when we actually connected again, looking back on our lives, we're like the same person. Like we both grew up in old Queenslanders with, lived in the same house our whole life, and basically have very similar families, and yeah, very very similar lives. It's kind
And
of weird.
what is it about Brisbane that you love so much? I mean, what is it about this part of the world? And have you been to other parts of the world to compare Brisbane to other places that you might have?
Yeah, well, this year I went to Japan, and I was like, whoa, Brisbane is so slow. Like, what the heck? Japan is so far ahead. The trains come every 3 minutes, and then I come back to Brisbane, and I'm like waiting for an hour for the train.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, why Brisbane? But then I went to Vanuatu, and I was like, Vanuatu is so slow. Brisbane is so fast. So I feel like, Brisbane is a happy medium where you can kind of just like, there's not too many people, you're not feeling rushed around, you can just kind of do your thing, but also you're not, in Vanuatu where it's very slow.
Yeah.
Waiting 3 hours for a plane.
And I used to tour around Australia, so I've been to like remote places and like every capital city and driving for miles and miles and miles. And although every place in Australia has something amazing, I just always have loved Brisbane. Like I always come back and go, oh, this is the happy medium. Like there's enough of everything to do. There's the art gallery, and there's,
Mostly sunny.
except for the last week.
Yeah.
It's been raining, but
Apparently it
Yeah.
only rains 65 days a year in Brisbane.
really,
Still too many though, isn't it?
way too many.
But then there's 300 days of sunshine.
Oh, okay, true. I was like, how many days do we get?
300 days of sunshine. Yeah. So, is it going to be a hot summer? Do you think? Last summer was really hot? Do you think
I don't
in for another
know.
hot summer?
I don't know. We're
It was pretty
prepared
cold.
because downtown has brand new air conditioning. So if it's
Yeah.
hot, it's fine.
How brand new are we talking? Is it-
Not last summer, the summer before, we didn't have air conditioning because we
Yeah.
just moved in and it was broken, and we thought
Yep.
we were going to die of
Yeah,
heat
of course,
exhaustion. But then our landlord came through for us and put in all new air conditioning.
Yeah, so it's
and-
all ducted, and we put it really cold, and it's
Yeah,
great.
it's
Because
great.
each room is just a one-on-one teaching room. So when
Yep.
you close the door, it's like a hot box.
Yep.
So you need this has got great air conditioning here too.
Yeah.
Very good.
I feel
Yeah.
very comfortable.
Yes. So
It's not as. I mean, you can hear. Sometimes you hear the noise in the background, but anyway.
it becomes
well,
white noise.
you know,
It becomes
It's not,
part of the
it's a drone.
atmosphere.
Yeah, I did one of these a couple of weeks ago. I did one of these podcasts on a plane. It was
Yeah, I heard that.
Bit
It was
different.
with the
I listened to
fighter.
it. It's playing in my car now since I downloaded it. And every time I turn on my car, I hear you, Tim.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So there'll be a couple more podcasts going up today, which would be good. So
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
just did one before this actually, so I'd sort of done this is like a back-to-back
Oh,
podcast.
cool.
Oh, very good.
The other guy, his name was Kevin Ryan. He's an expert negotiator. So if you want any negotiating sort of tips or tactics,
Oh, we need that for our
Well,
parents.
I'm not an expert. I'm like, oh, okay, no,
Yeah,
just do
we
that.
just go, okay, no, we'll make it work.
$19, $20, okay.
Okay.
yeah. So Sam, I mean, what obviously you guitar. What other instruments do you sort of
Dabble in?
Yeah, dabble in, specialise in, teach.
Well, I teach guitar predominantly and songwriting because they're my two most confident areas. I teach piano a little bit because I have learned piano since I was, very small, obviously. It was never my favourite instrument, but I can play it if I have to.
You play it really well.
Yeah, I like it. I also like to write songs on piano. I don't know why.
So tell me
Depending
about
on my vibe.
songwriting then. So you said you're a bit of a songwriter of original songs.
Yes.
How do you get ideas in your head about writing songs? I mean, most people go through this, I even as a young kid, I remember trying to write songs and shit like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it was, what sort of, how do the words come out onto the paper and how do they come out of your mouth sort of thing?
I
to
guess
Songwriters
it's like,
Club.
yeah, we run Songwriters Club. Practice is one thing, like you've got to, it's sort of like anything where if you don't really do it, you won't be able to think of new ideas very often, but if you're constantly thinking of new ideas, it just promotes more new ideas. It's not like you're going to run out. So we do exercises to like get your brain going by like, say, putting a glass of water in the middle of the room and just everybody has to write about it and see like where their brain goes.
Okay, that's, yeah.
Yeah, but also I think like because most ideas have been written about, like it's all about trying to find a new way to say things.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so that people can still relate to it, but also it's not like I've heard this before, it's a cliche. So I guess you're always trying to think of new ways to say things that everybody knows about.
So are there any sort of lyrics, I guess, that you sort or a particular writer or band that comes up with lyrics that you sort of take note of?
Yeah, there's a few. Death Cab for Cutie. Do you remember Death Cab for Cutie?
Can't say
I
I
do.
know that one, but
They're
yeah.
a great band. They're emo, and they've
Yeah.
actually got a new album. Very excited. But I always found his name's Ben Gibbons, I think.
That's also a student of ours name.
No, it's not close. though.
Oh, okay.
I just think the way he says things is really cool. Like, and the way he describes things is really cool. When I was younger, I was really inspired by Matchbox 20's lyrics because they never really made sense, but also they still made you feel.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's like those kind of writers where it's like they say something in a really interesting way that maybe doesn't quite make sense, but still you get the idea. I really like.
Yeah, no, I listened to Triple J. That's probably what I listen to the most as far as a station. But and the band that comes up with very interesting lyrics, and it's always about animals. They had this thing, this animal theme in their lyrics, and that's the Wombats.
I love the
cool,
Wombats.
So they've got this song called Cheated Tongue, and they do all this.
That's awesome.
If you go and listen to their lyrics, and they always sort of mix some sort of emotion into an animal sort
Yeah.
of feeling, or this, that, and it's
Yeah.
listen to that one. That's their actual lyrics, and they're more recent songs, I guess, more than their oldest songs, but definitely their newer songs. There always seems to be like an animal. Obviously, when they're doing their songwriting and thinking, they're thinking, okay, how can I turn this into an animal? Bloody
Today we're talking about pelicans.
Yeah,
How can we put that
it's
in
really
the
cool.
song? That's
It's kind of finding a new metaphor and
Yeah.
things
finding,
to hide your lyrical
cheetahs
meaning in.
and alligators and crocodile, all these different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their song
That's awesome.
Tokyo Vampires and Wolves
Yeah,
is currently
yes.
my jogging song because
It's a classic song.
I jog at its
It's probably, that's definitely in the top 3 or 4 Wombat songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely that's a perfect example of their sort of creativity and
Yeah.
what comes out of their mouth. But it's great that you sort of got exercises and
Yeah.
sort of evolving that and have a structured approach to writing songs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
original songs and all that sort of stuff. Kathleen, I guess what instruments do you sort of find the most fascinating, apart from obviously your voice?
Yeah, well, I've relied on my voice a lot, and then I've come into the real world and realised that you have to accompany yourself and things like that. So I play guitar to a standard that's okay for
She plays pretty well. She just
I
doesn't have much
you know,
confidence about it.
I think I'm a singer, so that's it. And I've always had a band behind me or backing tracks. But I love playing guitar. I love playing piano. And also things like GarageBand and just putting together beats and trying to create your own backing tracks. I find that fun. We did that once in Songwriters Club, so that was a really good way to do things. So yeah, but I love gigging with Sam or someone who feels really confident with the guitar, because then I can let loose on my voice.
I guess my creativity a little bit lacking, I guess, from the point of view of when I listen to other podcasts, they have all these little fancy little, intros. And I don't have that on my podcast yet. I haven't.
You don't need it, Tim.
We were thinking like,
we can make you a theme song.
Something in the back.
I'd certainly love to if you come up with something.
We'll send it through.
Done.
Send it to me, and but From the Valley podcast. Brisbane Business Life.
From the Valley podcast.
So I've just left it fairly raw at the moment. So I just like to get it out there and that sort of thing. If obviously if there's something that I like, I just don't know. There seems to be a lot of people do different things, and after a while, I don't like that anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't want to it's hard to think I'm going to want to create something, and then after 4 or 5 episodes, I'm going to say, oh well.
Yeah.
Do I like that still?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So one reason I guess I haven't done it, but I haven't obviously had the right ideas, talent, whatever you want. Creativity, all that sort of thing. So yeah, where do you think downtown's going to go in the future? What's the future of music for you girls? How's your job going to change it? How's your business going to change, do you think, over the next 5 to 10 years with what's changing in the world and in Australia music?
Well, I think we when we first got together and we were at a little coffee shop and we were talking about naming the business, because unfortunately you kind of have to name your business quite early to get your business name and everything sort of all organised. And we specifically said that we don't want to call it Downtown Music School. We wanted to call it something creative, because we never ever wanted to pigeonhole ourselves, is that the word?
That's it.
With just music. We've started in music because that's what we're good at, but we love the art. So we love dance and drama and art. Sam's a really good artist, and we'd love to expand downtown, downtown dance, downtown drama.
Creative Academy is where we'd love to go, like the X-Men school, but for creative. Would be awesome. Another big thing we really want to get into is recording. We want to be able to record kids and have them produce EPs, because it's obviously a time where talent's getting younger. So
definitely.
10-year-olds are getting famous, so we'd love to be able to help them write their own songs and then record it and then release it to Spotify and
be their one-stop shop.
Early.
Do their photos, get their headshots done and do their bios up with them with creative writing, and write the songs with them and record with them, and put it on Triple Unearthed and all those sort of different places to try and get them. We want downtown students to live their dreams and get famous, and
we'll
then
just have
invite
access
us
to all the opportunities.
Their opportunities.
And
at the Emmys,
mention us in their Aria's speech.
Aria's. Thank you, Kathleen and Sam from Downtown Creative Studios.
Some might even mention us in their Grammy speech. You never know.
Something on next month, the Aria Awards. Is that something you girls watch? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I love all the live music. I think last year the Veronicas and Tina Turner.
Tina Turner, okay.
Yeah, and not Tina Turner. Tina Arena. It's like, hang on.
Australian.
A bit more Australian. And Jessica Malboy sang Chain.
Oh, yes.
Chain, that one.
Yeah.
All together, and I loved it. It was so good. It was Australian singers singing an amazing song and great harmonies. Everything was amazing. And the Veronicas also wore, do you see that? They wore really tight red high-waisted pants and then just paint and glitter.
Wow.
And they looked, do you see that?
No.
It was just paint and glitter.
Have you seen
nothing else.
Seen the Veronicas live before, have you?
They went to my high school for a little bit, and I saw them live at Carols by Candlelight in 1999.
Weren't they out of Albany Creek or somewhere?
Yeah, they went to Wavell Heights as well, and they went to Ferny Grove for a while. But they used to perform as the Irreglasso twins.
Oh, that's
and that's when I saw them at Carols by Candlelight.
I used to do singing competitions. One was called Sing Off for Kickoff at, I think it was Logan. and they performed there. So I was downstairs in like the dressing room with the Irreglasso twins, and then they got famous, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
wow.
bye.
Like, I'll never see you again. But yeah, it's great that they're Brisbane girls, and they love Brisbane.
Yeah.
They always promote Brisbane, and they are just doing really well. So
I don't think they went to Ferny Grove for very long, but they've mounted them on their wall of famous students.
oh, have they?
Yeah.
I mean, I do the same.
When you're famous, I mean, if you're at school and you know someone passes through your school, you got to acknowledge,
yeah.
you gotta acknowledge that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's saw them live. I think a couple of years back. They're up at the Pineapple Festival or something up at Big Pineapple.
Yeah,
Gee, they were good, very
Yeah.
good live. You know,
they've got great voices.
great voices. You know, they've matured with age too, so they, you know, as they've got older, they're still got it. I think.
Yeah, they definitely do.
for sure.
So it's good to when you see artists like that. They start off young and
Yeah, they were
famous
really
when
young,
they're young,
weren't they?
and even when they come back, you know, 10 years later, they're still famous.
Yeah.
Still, you know, fairly big hits as well.
Like Savage Garden, where were they from?
I love Savage
They were
Garden.
this part of the world, weren't they?
They were Brisbane. Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, they were.
Powderfinger were Australian.
Yeah,
Brisbane
Powderfinger
too.
Oh, really?
Powderfinger is obviously one of the bigger groups from Brisbane when you think about what they achieved
Yeah.
nearly about 20 years ago
Don't say that. That's
with all of their
in
songs.
our lifetime. We're like, oh,
But
no, get
they were
lost.
quite big, and Bernard Fanning, amazing voice and
Yeah.
amazing songwriting, amazing songs.
Yeah.
Certainly inspirational back in those days, that's for sure.
I think one lives
Yeah.
out at Sanford.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And they filmed one of their film clips at Sanford State School.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Interesting thing to... What is your take on, I guess, collab artists? So I'm talking about the Flumes.
Oh, yeah.
Feature.
Sorry?
dot.
What did you,
Feature dot.
Feature dot.
what did you say?
You know how they say feature?
Yeah.
Featuring? They're
Yeah.
just like
Yeah,
F-E-A-T.
feat, yeah.
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 Sorry, I didn't
didn't
get what
catch
you're saying, but yeah, people like that who they got all this creative sort of stuff that they're beating out and all that sort of stuff, and then they just let's find this person with a good voice, let's find another person with a good voice, and then they all of a sudden they've got 8 different voices on their album. What do you think of that type of? I mean, that seems to be quite common, more common these days than it was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
What do you girls think of that as an approach?
I think it's an awesome approach because, like, obviously more ideas is better than one. I do think sometimes the singers don't get enough credit for what they've done
Yeah.
on certain... Like, obviously some take off. Like, Jess Glynn did really well after, like, Rather Be with Clean Bandit and
Such a good song.
Yeah.
stuff like
I do that every gig.
But
And then-
there are a few just unknowns that, like, you're like, they have such a great voice and you never find out, like,
Yeah.
really
And it's like, I mean,
who they are.
an example from the last few years, Ely, everyone knows Ely, the rapper.
Yeah.
He got Vera Blue to feature
Yes.
in
Yeah.
the song, and all of a sudden, no one knew too much about her other than, you know, some people may have known she was on The Voice as Celia
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pavey, but she was just a feature on that song with Ely.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, she has her album that she brings out
Yeah.
12 months later,
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
She was
And
amazing.
very big on Triple J all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's, if you get featured as an artist, there's a good example of taking, you know, as you
Sometimes
said,
it is, it works really well for them
in
and
their
they take
favour.
off.
Yeah.
Vera Blue, I reckon, her album was so good. Deserved more credit than it got. I saw her live and she was flawless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I just don't think she took off enough in mainstream radio.
And even people
Yeah.
like Flimmer said, I want that voice with my
Yeah,
stuff. And
Yeah.
Exactly.
one guy I ran into at Big Sound a couple of times, actually, who does a similar thing to Flume. His name is Paces.
Yeah.
Not sure if
Oh,
you've ever
cool.
heard of Paces. From
No.
the
No.
Gold Coast. He lives down the Gold Coast, so I ran into him a couple of times. Kept running into him. I saw his set on a Tuesday, ran into him on a Wednesday, got a
Oh,
selfie
wow.
with him, and then I ran into him again on the Thursday. So I kept
Yeah.
running into him, and he was just
Wow.
sussing out all the
He was
artists.
supposed to
'cause
feature on his song tip.
I can't sing, but
Feet Tim.
I don't think so. But I saw the feats that he had. Like he had 5 or 6 just in his set
Yeah.
at Big Sound.
Oh, cool.
Had 5 or 6. Maybe let's say 5 different artists
Yeah.
that would come in different songs.
Yeah.
And
Oh, in his set.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
So he's like a Flume, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just he's a fairly amazing guy, and he's done stuff with Guy Sebastian. So
Yeah.
he's featured with Guy Sebastian's
Go the
current
fro.
song.
I always just think of their touring logistics though. Like if he's got like 5 different featured singers,
Yeah,
does he
it'd
have
be-
to fly them everywhere?
Well, that's
he
the
tours?
thing. I mean, you always, when you go to a lot of these different events, like a Peking Duck's a good example.
Yeah.
When we went to the Tivoli at that time, Peking Duck sort of, they didn't have any featured artists because it
No.
was just a normal regular show for them.
Yeah.
But if it's like a big show, like if they, if it's some sort of big event on, maybe it's Splendor in the Grass,
Yeah.
maybe it's the one in St Helens that they did for One Night Stand. They would have obviously flown all the artists
Yeah.
in there.
Just for that. It's a good gig
So-
for the feet person. 'cause
I
it's
know,
like, I
yeah.
just had to sing this little bit of this one song.
Yeah.
And then I'm
paid,
done.
and then I'm going home.
Yeah. I love it with I listen to, 97.3 and V105 and stuff like that as well. And I really love it when really big artists feature in other really big artists. So like Rihanna and Eminem when they did that song together, and then in Rihanna's huge arena things, Eminem would just come out. How exciting would that be for the
Yeah.
audience?
Oh, it would be.
To see 2 people that they love. So at a smaller level, it's awesome as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a part of the Valley Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if you girls knew that or not, but I go to regular Valley Chamber of Commerce events, and one of the sponsors there is 97.3 FM.
Oh, there you go.
So
That's awesome.
But they're great events if you want to come along to those. But
I think we're members.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
is that with a
because
lot of people?
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
heaps of people in it.
100.
Yeah.
we have a
Olds.
certificate that says we're a member.
But I think that was only valid for
Was
1
that?
year.
Does it expire? Do we have to renew our membership?
Probably, yeah.
Really?
But you can always tag along and try to get on, get a guest with somebody else. Or,
Oh, true.
But
Okay, cool.
they are quite good events. I've been going about 18 months. I've been a member, so it's been quite
Oh,
good. The
cool.
amount of contacts I've met. Had probably 5 or 6 of the guests have come from people that I've met in the Valley Chamber.
Oh, we should
Of
go.
commerce,
Let's go one time.
We should go. I think
I
the
think it's
trouble was
when
it
it
was what
is.
time is it? Is it
It's
6
usually
p.m.?
like the meet and mingles. It's the last Thursday of the month. It's probably when you're teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
From-
why we
Yeah,
never
that's
could
why we
go.
never went.
5:30 till
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
We stopped teaching on a Thursday at 8 p.m, so
Yeah, so
we'd have to
it's-
take it off
yeah,
or something.
very
Or
difficult.
maybe on a holiday.
Yeah,
we
maybe
could
on
go.
school holidays we could go, but would have to be the last Thursday of the month. Did you
Yeah,
say?
yeah. It's
We'd
that's
have
for
to
the
It would have
really,
to be
really
like-
figure that out.
That would be really hard.
Yeah.
It'd have to be the last Thursday of December or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, that's so. I guess going back to the future talk, I mean, you girls are obviously working very well together. Do you think this is going to grow much? What you're doing, or what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
We're hoping it will. Our very wise accountant told
Yeah.
us to get our current downtown running like a well-oiled machine before we start looking at another one. But we think we're getting there. Everything's starting to run really
Yeah.
smoothly now. So that hopefully in the next couple of years we can look at opening
A
second
second
downtown.
downtown.
So you've started thinking about what potential locations might be, or
Well, initially we were doing lots of country competitions. We went down to Redlands to do some stuff down there, and we realised that there's no music schools there. And we thought
So there's
a
an
couple of other
opportunity there, yep.
places.
Yeah, but there's a lot of
then-
people from Redlands who are all musicians.
and
so-
they don't have lessons.
Yeah.
But then we were talking again, and we were thinking maybe we should open another downtown in a similar socioeconomic area that is similar
So
to
we
the
kinda know
Grange,
how
because
to
we
do
know
it.
how to operate
that type of
that type of
economics, yeah.
customer.
So I
but
think
we
you maybe
don't
just
know.
crossing the river slightly.
Yeah, so we have to still really talk about it.
Yeah.
Because what we've found with a high socioeconomic area like the Grange, people want one-on-one lessons. They don't mind to pay a little bit more. They want good quality. That's what pretty much everybody wants. They don't want group lessons for $10. Whereas a lower socioeconomic area, they probably would like group
Yeah.
lessons,
Group lessons
and
where
we're
they
not
can,
as
yeah.
versed in that yet.
I
So.
mean, that's certainly good of you to come up with that sort of conclusion as well. That does make sense. But there are other areas that you could look at, sort of, I guess, on the the Balimbas, Balmoral, the
Yeah, exactly.
and the rent would be a
Morningsides,
lot cheaper, so that would be helpful. And
Cooperoo.
see what
So
we
maybe
can-
some areas there, whether there's
Yeah.
a school there, I don't know, but
yeah, and we'd have to go through.
We'll just
and-
plant ourselves next to another school.
Oh, I know that happened to us.
Paddington, Red Hill. There's all these sort
Yeah.
of places.
Yeah, for
Indooroopilly.
sure.
Yeah.
Like a suburban just like where we are. But
Not
Yeah.
too far away, but somewhere. That's probably a good idea though. That's probably something to consider in the next targeting.
yeah.
But
But then we'd have to figure out who goes,
Yeah, like-
because we are such core members of Downtown at the Grange. It would be the only way we know how to start a business is for Sam and I to be together. Like,
yeah, of course,
when we're separate, we're okay, but when we're together, we're like the dream team.
seems to multiply. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd have to think about like only one of us
do
going.
we have to
and
go? One of us go down there, or do we get like a manager to deal
manage
with it? and
now downtown and spend all our time
Use
making.
Skype.
New
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah, figure
yeah.
out what to do with.
Do we
that.
have to teach it new downtown? Like,
Yeah.
Do you think things like Skype will come into play as far as teaching and?
I've got a couple of Skype lessons. They are challenging because when you sing, especially, everything needs to be completely in sync. So I can't sing along with anything because Skype
Yeah.
is so subtly not in sync.
Yeah, it's
so
a second behind or
yeah,
something.
yeah, and they'd go yeah, just slightly. So that's really challenging, and
Yep.
also with alignment and a lot of things with singing, I need to be there and do a 360 around them and make sure, and like even touch their shoulders or their head or something, and to make sure that they're standing correctly. So that's hard with Skype, but we've developed ways around a lot of that. So Skype lessons are a good opportunity, and a lot
They
of other
are.
schools do.
They do.
that.
I just personally don't love it because I'm a grandma when it comes to computers and the internet. So I'm like, it's like
Exactly.
buzzing someone.
Yeah, how do you press call?
She's frozen.
She's not on video, you know.
Her voice is
like-
still going, but her face is frozen. What do I
yeah,
do?
what do I do?
I
Just
like
keep
much
going.
prefer one-on-one. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like it's a good opportunity for our teachers to do it.
Yeah, because some teachers are overseas and they'll Skype,
Yeah.
to Australia or vice versa. A few singing teachers that I follow have students that are international, and they Skype their lessons. So there's the whole world could be students. We just haven't tapped into that yet. So yeah, if we do, then it'd be something that we'd really have to get good equipment and like
Get a
set
really
up
good
a room
internet
that's-
connection.
Yeah, it's got to be good
for
equipment at both ends too. not
Yeah,
just-
exactly.
Just one end. So definitely. So I guess is there anything you can sort of tell the listeners today as to if they're looking at trying to get into music, trying to learn, trying to take up lessons, want to know where to start? What advice would you have for those types of people?
It's never too late to start, depending
Yeah.
on the age bracket of your listeners. Two, it's never as hard once you start. Like, it always seems really daunting when you've never done something, or if you've got this whole, like, say someone wants to learn guitar, it's like, that seems really overwhelming. So long as you just start one step at a time, it all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you're so much better than you thought you'd ever be.
And do it. Just do it, because it's so fun. I think that a lot of business owners and a lot of people in general don't have a creative outlet, and I think we have seen the benefit of being creative and having a creative outlet that's something that's just yours, so that when you're stressed out, you can just play something on the guitar or have a sing or play some piano or write a song. Like, that's really important for your mental health. So like, there's so many positives about it. You don't have to be a famous person. That
No.
doesn't have to be the goal.
It's good to have a hobby.
The
Like,
goal can
even
just be have
us,
fun.
We are learning. Kathleen is learning Korean. I'm learning Japanese.
Wow.
안녕하세요. That means hello.
Yeah.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Yeah.
I said thank you very much.
Really?
Nihon ni ita koto ga arimasu ka?
Very good.
Do you know what that means?
Wakarimasen.
Probably not.
Don't understand.
Yeah, so that's. Have you ever been to Japan? I think that one was.
really?
I actually.
Hey.
Hey, yeah, or air. But yeah, I remember learning Japanese as a kid. I was actually quite good at it at school. Actually won a subject prize one.
Really?
Amazing.
Back in year 10.
Well
I was the
done.
best in the class or something.
Go
Just as-
you.
And then all of a sudden I got to year 12 and been there, done
You
that.
just
Never-
forget. Yeah.
You do forget, and one thing, you've been there, I've never been there, so I'd love to go to Japan one day. Still on my list of places to go.
I'm dying to go back.
Yeah.
For one reason at the moment, because they have this ramen place called Ichiran, and I'm craving it so badly.
Just go to Japan.
And I'm
to
like,
get it.
Josh, what is the furthest we can go for a date night?
Yeah.
Can we go all the way to Japan just to get Ichiran?
I think
Because that's what I feel like. because it is so good.
So, what have you sort of travelled the world much, Kathleen, as well? Have you?
I've been to the States. I went to my cousin's wedding in Hawaii, so we did a little bit of travelling around the States and then had the wedding. I've been to China and
Wow.
I've been to Singapore. I did some choir stuff over there, which was fun as a kid, and all around Australia. But no, I haven't done Europe. My parents go away to Europe.
So, whereabouts
all
in
the
the States
time.
have you go to?
Never eat soggy. West Coast,
Yeah.
LA, Hollywood. Up
What do you
there.
think of LA and Hollywood?
Dirty.
Yeah.
Really, like, it's so glamorized, and I had this huge expectation.
Yeah.
But it was, everything's smaller, and there's lots of people being like, please buy my music, and
I saw that,
begging
yeah.
and stuff like
Venice
that.
Beach was.
Yeah, it's not that great, and
No.
but it was an experience, and it was fun, and there's
Yeah.
huge portions of food, so you can
Oh,
just share. And
Especially in Vegas. It's
we went to
crazy.
Vegas too, and Vegas was amazing. I loved Vegas, but I think Sam and I want to travel and do it for work sometime. And
Yes.
really,
Can downtown
can
pay
downtown
for us?
take us overseas to watch a show or something?
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely need to do more.
Definitely do
traveling.
Europe
Yeah.
again. I mean, Europe. I'm going to be there for Christmas. Actually, looking
Oh,
forward to
cool.
it.
lovely.
That'd be awesome. Be
Yeah.
cold. Be good.
Yeah, that's part of the idea, I guess, is the cold Christmas as opposed
The
to what we
snow.
get here. But
40 degrees,
Yeah.
feet in the
In
kiddie
the
pool,
pool,
on
yeah.
Christmas Day.
Sunburned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I think that's probably about all we can really sort of cover in the podcast today, girls. It's been really, really good. Anything final that you wanted to add to the listeners, or any sort of plugs that you wanted to have about your business?
Well, if you're in Brisbane and you're looking for a place to learn any sort of instrument or songwrite, then I'd really recommend giving us a shot. Check out
Definitely.
www.downtowncreativestudios.com.au or give us a bell on
33527427.
just change our number, so that's why.
It takes a little while to come back to my brain.
Yeah, so we'd love to.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your story, why you want to learn,
Yeah,
and then
have you a part of our
help
family.
you with your goals.
No, thank you very
Yeah.
much. Been great guests, and I've always felt that you'd make great podcast guests.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
as
great.
well, because I've known you girls for a few years now at least,
Yeah.
and certainly you've always got a couple of interesting stories to throw into into the whole realm of what you could possibly talk about. So bit different from all the other podcasts I've done. It's, which is everything's got to be different the way I see it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, why not?
So I can't wait to listen to this back at some point. I'll definitely get it uploaded. So thank you very much, and we'll now get some work done.
We'll do our tax
Woo,
now.
tax time.
Yay. Thanks, Tim.